Mm.
And plus the station was on its way out, and I quit, and I was already working for Sprint Mobile. I was producing content on
Oh.
Sprint Mobile back in the day. So back in the day, Sprint used to have the hip hop
Mm-hmm.
report. It was a little animated character that me and my friend Alex Mejia put together. So I was making enough money with Sprint to quit the beat. So I
Okay.
said, I'm out of here. You know, I
Uh-huh.
can't grow. Y'all don't want me on the morning show, so I'm out of here. So then shortly after that, Jamie Foxx offered me a job with
Oh.
the Foxhole. I had heard this is how that happened. I heard the episode, I don't the world famous episode with Superhead on there.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I called Jamie. You know, me and Jamie, we go way back from shoot when he was before in Living Color. See, he sang on my album. I don't know if
He was on your album, I was gonna say.
right, and I was on his first album too.
Hmm.
But I called Jamie and I was like, Jamie, I swear to God, I ain't never heard radio so crazy. That shit is crazy. He was like, come down, come down. So I came down and they invited me to sit at the table, and I seen that it was like organized confusion. There was no real format. They were just going in where, you know, a topic could come up and they would just go in on it. And immediately my radio expertise kicked in, and I was preparing their outlines and putting
Mm,
their topics together. And Jamie offered me the job. He said, I really, that night, he
mm.
invited me to the house and he said, I really want you to be a part of the show. He go,
Mm.
I ain't got no money to pay you right now,
Uh-huh.
but I want you to be a part of the show. I was like, shit, come every Friday and kick it and have fun. And
Yeah.
hell yeah, I didn't mind because I already had jobs.
Yeah.
So, and then a few months later, he put me on the payroll, and that was the highest paid job I ended up having. So
Beautiful.
a lot of people, you know, they go, "Oh, I ain't getting paid. I ain't doing that." You gotta weigh what that value is. Like,
Mm.
yeah, Jamie probably could have paid me, and I could probably said, "Nah, I ain't doing it unless you pay me." But I ended up just being a part of the crew, and I ended up getting paid more money than any job has ever paid me. I got to travel around the country
Mm.
several times with Jamie while he was on tour with his album. We would do the radio show from the cities he was performing in.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna walk and get my charger while we're
Okay.
talking.
No, those are good times.
Oh
Those
my
are good
God, that
times.
was the
Yeah.
best job I ever had. Like working with Jamie. I loved working at the Beat too. That was a fantastic job as well. But working for Jamie Foxx was definitely the best job
What
anybody could have.
what's the difference between working for the beat versus working for an Jamie Foxx? As in being independent.
One thing from working with Jamie Foxx and on the Foxhole is that um, there was no censorship. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I know.
there was no censorship,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm gonna see if I can talk on speaker because now I got to plug in my own. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm just unprepared. Hang on. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that was one thing. It was uncensored, so we
Mm.
didn't have to worry about cursing or and just the freedom. It was just more fun doing satellite radio.
Now, take us back to the beat. Why were you so inspired to be so active in the community?
I think
I, I remember
because
your name being everywhere in terms of the community and moving and.
that's just who I am. I
Mm,
love the community. I love my people. I was so blessed to be in a position where I had a radio station to support
mhm.
my efforts in the community. And even still today, I couldn't have landed in a better place than here on Crenshaw, right across the street from where K Day used to be.
Mhm.
So now people can come and they can, record their podcasts. We do voiceovers, everything. We even teach podcast classes. We haven't taught
Podcast.
any since the pandemic, but we do that here. So the, that's I love the community. I've been in the community all my life.
Now, when you see the community from the you came here in the mid '80s and you look at it today, how much has it improved?
I
And
would have to say, with the help
mhm,
of the gang interventionist,
mhm,
that it's not the wild wild west like it used to be. You don't hear a lot about gang violence. It still exists here in LA, but you don't hear a lot about it. Definitely the crime in terms of gangs in LA has decreased.
mm. And I gotta ask you about like politics.
Hmm.
What's your take on this campaign that we're in right now? Biden, Trump.
I think we're in some crazy times. I
Uh,
think right now it's very divisive.
mhm.
Never have I deleted so many people from because of their. Did you happen to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix?
No, I haven't watched it. No, I haven't, but I'm gonna write it
You
down.
got to watch that because there's a lot of news and fake news
Mm,
that's being deliberately planted to
yeah.
make people divisive and to make people argue and whatever.
Mhm,
But in terms of the campaign, I really want Trump out.
mhm.
Um, he's the worst character of a person that
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen in the White House. A lot of people don't like Joe Biden, but I would rather see somebody who got some type of sense
Mm,
and knows. I don't know. I just don't. I just want Trump out.
mm.
That's
And Louisville is boarding up their downtown area starting late last night and today as it relates to Breonna Taylor.
hmm
Um, I remember um, Trayvon Martin very clearly. Um, do you ever think that we'll ever get justice in America, or we just fend for it? I hate to sound hopeless, but it's how hopeful are you that one day?
I'm very hopeful because I'm seeing change that I've never seen before. I
Mhm,
mean, I'm seeing. I was watching the Emmys last night, and I forget what actors were had a big Black Lives Matter hanging in their living room. White couple, white actors. I forget who they were, but just seeing a lot more diversity out in these protests. You're seeing actual change. I'm seeing actual change
okay,
I've never seen before in my lifetime.
okay.
And before all of this, I was a little hopeless,
Mm.
but now I would say I'm a little more hopeful now.
That's a beautiful thing because before you came on, I was sharing like I just had so much anxiety today because I just don't want to go through another Trayvon Martin, where it's just like it's plain as day what the hell happened. Mike Brown with Darren Wilson. It's plain as day what happened, and they still get off. They still gonna get their job. They still gonna get their pension. I just want us to get one victory where we can actually celebrate as humans, as for for the sake of humanity. And I'm hopeful though. I am hopeful. I just had a bad day today in terms of my spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hopeful too. And in terms of like police brutality and unjustified murder, I think that's going to change too. It might be a while, but we are seeing more police officers at least being charged,
Mm,
you know. So whether they get time or not for these cases that are currently in the with George Floyd and all that and Breonna Taylor, Whether we see them actually go to jail, that's a whole other story. But I am seeing that there's starting to be change in the police department too. You know, I actually interviewed the chief of police last week,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah. How
LA
was
chief
that?
of police.
How was that? I saw it
It
on
was
your page.
cool, and it's like some people, no matter what the police say or do, they're not gonna like the police. Just the historic um, situation with the police. No matter what they do, people are not messing with the police. But I had a chance to sit down with the LA chief of police, and he knew what time it was. You know, he even brought up how officers were used to capture the enslaved. I was like, what?
Hmm.
I never heard a white police official admit to having that knowledge, you know. And he explained the disciplinary protocol that happens with the LAPD. It's not like he can just fire a cop. There's numerous procedures that he has to go through to even hire cops.
Sure.
But he wants more power to be able to hire and fire cops. He's saying not absolute power, but more power than he has to fire cops for misconduct.
Mm.
And you can see that interview in full on my YouTube channel at Morris Media Studios. I thought it was a really good interview.
I'm definitely gonna watch it. Definitely gonna. I saw you post it too. I should have watched it. Do you have an opinion on Jackie Lacey?
I know that a lot of people aren't happy
Hmm.
with her.
Hmm.
I know a lot of my close associates are working to get her out of there,
Uh-huh.
but that position is hard. That's a hard position to be in. Sometimes I feel like she's between a rock and a hard place. You know what I'm saying? Because if she does prosecute these police, they ain't gonna protect her if something happens. You know what I mean? It's just it's a hard position to be in. I don't think I would ever want to be in that position. I'm not I'm not gonna vote for her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's not really doing her job.
Yeah, she signed up for it though. You know what I mean? Like she signed
Yeah.
up for it, and she got to protect the people. You know, I think she's doing a great job at protecting the people that's advocating on her behalf in terms of financial donations and actually physical support. You understand what I'm saying? But I just, whew, man. So 2025, how will LA be in music? Will are artists going to be independent? You think uh, will we see RCA signing a little girl out of the Bay Area coming down to LA, or will we do the social media route, Instagram, whatever's next, YouTube?
I think now is a great time for independent artists
Mm,
because especially if they have a major following,
mhm.
because nowadays advertisers and sponsors, as we know, are interested in buying your audience.
Absolutely.
And I think once the artists get a real grasp on how to market themselves,
Mm,
really there's no use for a major record company. But that depends on what level you want to go to. If you want to go to a label, of course you're going to get more exposure, but will you get paid more?
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? You can get all the exposure, but still ain't get no money. You
Mm,
know, a lot of, especially back when I was an artist, a lot of artists were not getting paid.
yeah.
They they may look like they were living the lifestyle and whatnot, but a lot of artists were they weren't getting paid. But nowadays, with internet, people having direct access to the artists
Facts.
on their social media platforms, I really think artists now is the best time for an artist to be independent.
Mm. Now we've all heard 360 deals, but if you were an independent artist and you actually needed some assistance from a record label, a major, how would that deal? What would that deal look like?
I'm not really sure how they're structuring deals right now, but
Mhm.
I will say that the more followers that you create and develop on your own before getting a record deal, the more leverage you will have.
Mm,
The
gotcha.
more sales you've already generated without a label, your following will definitely give you leverage. So I would say to an up and coming artist to definitely make sure your music is of quality.
Mm,
And secondly, you have to work on building your fan base.
fan base. Right. Right.